This is the top floor of the hotel. Everyone has breakfast. It's very nice. But it's right above my room. And everyone does this. So this morning at 8 AM, when everyone was dragging this furniture around above my head, I was very much like, yes, I'm going to go and get another hotel. But then, you know, you draw the curtains and you realise that all the hotels are the same and that this is actually a really good one. So anyway, I've just booked another night here. Proper umming and ahhing about it. The building work is pretty intense. But apart from that, it is a really good hotel. But yeah, I am kind of done with Cat Bar. Oh, now I found an amazing new beach, like the beach. And there's an amazing coastal walk attached to it. So we'll go and do that today. But I'm feeling kind of done with Cat Bar. Unless I can find a quiet space, and then I'll happily just chill here for a week. But I don't think they exist. The whole island is under construction. So I might try one more on the... So basically there's one road on the island that does this. It kind of goes in a U shape. So I've just done this bit. So I might try one more on this bit tomorrow. But I think we're done. But having said that, this walk I'm going to do today could be enough of a reason to stay, like just doing that every day. So we'll see. But yes. Oh, and also I locked myself out of my room this morning. That was fun. Closed the door without taking my card, which was all a bit retarded. Oh, I think my breakfast is here. This is included. Fantastic. Yeah. Mango, and obviously it will be watermelon as well. Pancake. Fantastic. Let's get a bit of clove washing done. So there's a man with some big sticks, some bamboo sticks. But what's much more impressive is this place. Check this out. So I came here yesterday. I came later on in the day, so there wasn't all this plebery going on. But yeah. So I think this costs about £35 a night to sleep in. I would really like to sleep in it. I love all the green plants on the balcony. It's amazing. And then imagine that as your view every day. Yeah, what a place. And this almost makes me, well, it does make me think I'm going to stay in Cat Bar for a bit longer, because this is amazing. Anyway, I've also noticed there seems to be a walk, a coastal walk. So we're going to go and do that in a minute. And there's a big bird. I'm not sure how much of a coastal walk you'll see. You'll see bits of it. It depends how much yammering I've got in me. But I'm feeling very stoned, to be honest. And just like I can't really be asked to record today. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And here we have a woman who is very kindly providing music for everyone. Delighted. I'm not actually sure how you get to that walk. Can't work it out. Everything seems to be fenced off. Oh, maybe it's a different road entirely. I wouldn't have thought so. How do you get there? Ah, right, you just go from the beach. Alright, let's do that then. Oh man. I just love people playing music out of their phones so much. I so appreciate it, especially in a spot of nature like this. Thanks, love. So last night, there's two retards in the room next to me. Two retarded young females. Very retarded. But they're, you know, you can see that they're, I mean, respect, like they're in a part of Vietnam at 20 odd years old. Obviously that's really cool. So they can't be fully retarded. But anyway. So we were playing music really loudly last night, and I went, and I should have recorded it, but obviously this is just a reactionary moment. I'm not like, oh, I'm a YouTuber, let me get my camera. I'm just like, fuck these cunts. So I went and banged on the door super loud, and I was just like, turn that fucking thing off. It's like, this is a hotel, you're not here to party. And they were like, whoa. And they've been quiet since. They had the music on a little bit this morning, but I couldn't really hear it. But yeah, they were proper partying in there. And I saw the door was cracked open, so I saw like they were jumping about. I did feel a little bit bad. And realised how old and grumpy I am, but at the same time, like, no. I'm not listening to your retarded fucking Satan music. Oh my god, we've got a right one coming towards us. So I think it's something to do with not wanting a darker skin complexion. So you see a lot of people out here walking, a lot of women I should say, walking around like this. Like actual fucking zombies. Can you imagine being so obsessed with your appearance that you would go to those lengths? Crazy. Stopped to take a selfie and she's taking it off. It's all just a big con. Everything in life is a big lie. This is how I look how happy I am. Rest of the time, zombie. Who remembers purpose? Feeling a sense of purpose. That used to be a really big thing for me. You know, even before I was consciously observing myself. You know, I wouldn't have called it purpose. I would have called it money, success, status, mainly money. I don't think I'd have really used the other words too much, but money would have been, being rich is how I would have defined it, having purpose. And that mindset manifested many businesses, bricks and mortar businesses, that brought that into my life. And there was this sense of striving, growth, trying to be something, trying to better oneself. And of course at first, bloody hell, there's no point looking at me, look at this. Of course at first, wow, sorry, get back on track. It was all very egoic, it was all very materialistic. I mean, I got to the point where I kind of concluded that everything in life was motivated, every action that we took was motivated by wanting to be loved. You could say the need for sexual contact, but I think if you go a layer deeper than that, it's actually the desperation to be loved, to be wanted, to avoid loneliness, I think is one of the biggest motivators. So I noticed, I can't quite remember what age this is, probably late 20s, that everything I was doing was essentially to attract a partner. The business, every post I'd make on social media. I mean, I got to a point where I used to go on holiday. I was so desperate and so lonely and so desperate to be seen as something. But I used to go on holiday once a month just so I could put it on my social media. And it got to the point where, like, if I didn't put something on my social media for a month, I felt as if I had failed in some way, or, you know, essentially wasn't doing what I needed to do to be attractive to another. So what I'm trying to express there, you know, like, you could take it down to the food you eat, whether you work out, how you dress, how you earn a living, every post you put on social media. Like, what is it actually for? Well, I found when I started observing that it was actually just to impress others, and then a layer below that was to attract others, and a layer below that was, I'm lonely, I don't want to be alone. Maybe if I do this and I have this business and I show this and I say this, then people will think that I'm good enough, and maybe somebody will even idolize the idea of being with me. And that's ultimately what it all was. And then I grew a bit on my consciousness journey. And, you know, once you see these things, once you become aware of these things, then you actually have a choice. You actually have a choice whether you want to keep playing that out, whether that is how you want your life to be. Are you living in the minds of others? Are you living for others? Are you living and deriding your self-worth through the actions of others and through how others react to your actions? I guess when I started noticing that and realizing that, I would, you know, started observing it and seeing how it plays out, and then relating that to how it makes me feel, whether it feels empowering, you know, whether it's a story I want to keep playing out. Then you get to a point of this noticing, and for the first time, choice. Like, do I want to do this thing that isn't really what I want, and it's what I feel I have to do in order to be whatever I've been portraying, this story I've been playing? Or allowing these needy parts of me, these parts of me that feel lonely and feel like they need another to love me, is the only way to satisfy them? Do I want to keep living my life for them? So when I say the choice thing, and so for the first time we get a choice, because before the shadow is, we can't see the shadow. It's unconscious. So there was no choice. We were just acting from the shadow. We were just acting from the inner child. We were just acting from an unconscious, unloved part of ourselves that felt scared. Many refer to it as the ego. And therefore was controlling our present day life based on past experiences, based on not wanting to experience past experiences again, i.e. having one's heart broken. Wow. So when I realised all this and started to observe this and started to learn how to have space between me and this, then my purpose, it's all just new ways that the ego uses to stay alive, essentially. So every time we become more conscious or have an ego death or notice the ego, it just finds a new way of grabbing on. So at first, you're not even aware of the ego. You're not even aware of that you could be acting from a subconscious place, and you just assume that everything you're doing, you've consciously decided. But you soon realise that actually you're not deciding any of this. So then a new version of my ego decided that we were going to be some sort of spiritual master. Or, actually it uses what it already knows. So it used the businessman in me, that archetype. It took that, and because it had had success with that in the past, and it used that in the spiritual scene, which many, the spiritual ego likes to collect certificates. This is why pretty much everyone, when they first have an awakening, becomes a Reiki teacher, because it's easy and it gives them a nice certificate which they know from the old world. This means I am something, before we've actually learned any sort of real surrender or what the spiritual journey actually entails, which is becoming nothing, letting go of every belief and every thought you've ever had about yourself. Every I am this, getting rid of the this and moving towards I am. So this video hasn't gone anywhere near where I thought it was going to go. It was meant to be about purpose and how I no longer really feel a sense in that, but I guess I'm working my way there. So then the purpose was wrapped up in spiritual ego, and I told myself it was about helping others. And basically what I'm trying to say is I've had all these stories all my life, and I've been very driven all my life, and it looks like many different things. For a while it was just like money. I just want to be rich, a very basic low consciousness form of the ego. Like the ego wasn't having to work hard because I wasn't observing, because I was just in it. I just was of the ego completely. And yeah, so many different variations of this, like even to the point where the ego has had to do so many somersaults to keep control that it's now in this virtuous spiritual I'm a healer type story. Anyway, so I've gone through all these iterations and I've now hit 40, and I think a lot of this is possibly a reaction to the state of the world. But also it's just like there's no sense of purpose anymore. Or I think no is a bit strong, because I imagine the reason I still switch this camera on and talk to it is if I have anything of any worth to say, is some sort of desire for attention still. I flip between, is this just me craving attention? Is this just the egomaniac that I have been all my life continuing to play out? And of course, there's going to be elements of truth in that. Or is it a reaction to, the odd comment I get where it's just like, your videos are keeping me sane, or your videos are making me think, or your videos are helping me? Is it purpose? I think what I really wanted this video to be about was, oh my god. Yeah, I find it so hard to speak into anything anymore, because I used to be so black and white, and I used to be like, this is right, that's wrong, I believe this, I don't believe this. Whereas now I just see the grey in everything. I see at least two parts of me, that for each of those parts, other sides of the spectrum of whatever I'm discussing is true. Yes, it is absolutely true that I do feel that in my words are little things, little experiences that I'm sharing that can maybe help someone, and therefore that's a purpose. But then also I recognise the part of me that, so if I don't record, I get depressed. I just fester. I mean, it's the only thing I have to do other than this, which that's going to piss people off, because obviously people are going to be like, oh my god, like, you live in paradise, that's amazing, but there's only so long you can do this walk, you know, and then it gets hot and tiring, and then you're back in your hotel room and you're all alone and you've got no family and you've got no friends, and you're wondering if you can keep affording this lifestyle. And by lifestyle I mean literally just surviving in different countries. Anyway, that's a tangent. I don't really have anything to do. But more interestingly is how depressed I get when I don't do this. So there is still a part of me that has a story and a need for purpose. The crux of it, I think this is what I wanted the video to actually be about. How much is purpose needed and of the soul and aligned, and what we've come here to do, a soul mission, some might say, and how much of it is just the ego crying for attention, desperate for attention? I don't know. This is like the seesaw that I'm on at the minute. I really feel like I'm experiencing great detachment from everything that's ever gripped me, and you know, just all ways of being, and you know, and so then the other seesaw, the other question is it depression? Like, am I actually depressed and I've lost the zap for life, the buzz for life? You know, it was only a few weeks ago I used to wake up in the morning excited about doing a video, but then I think that was ego. I think that was the ego, like, oh, how many people have seen me? Let me check my viewing stats, let me check this, you know. What am I here to teach people today? You know, it was very much from a like wanting to be something place. And I feel like there's been a transition recently, and I'm not quite sure what that is yet. I can't name it yet. But there's definitely detachment from that. There's definitely less need to be anything. If anything, I just feel more desire to share more playfully and stupidly and jokery. And I feel like that's what I want to lean into more with this channel, rather than this serious, like, let's take life seriously way that I've been showing up. But again, that's not what this video is supposed to be about. I don't know if I've even said what I want to say about, I think I might have said it earlier about this purpose thing, and you know, like, so it feels like the most progress I've ever made on my self-development journey, in terms of detachment, in terms of letting go of purpose, in terms of just surrendering to the nothingness, which I think is getting there, is getting towards oneness, is getting past self. I am. Not that I'm trying. You know, this is the big difference as well. You know, I've spent, so let's say I've been, I mean, obviously it's been a lifetime, but let's say I've been consciously on this journey for 8 to 10 years. You know, all that time I've been like seeking the breakthrough, like this is the direction I'm going in, you know, controlling from ego, making decisions still. Whereas I feel like now I really am surrendering and just like allowing. So in that is this question around purpose, because it feels like the more I let go of that, the more I can actually surrender and be. But if I don't have any of it, I feel really depressed. So yeah, that's the juxtaposition that I am Oh, what's that spiritual word people use? Is it transitioning? I'm transitioning right now. Here's another one. Traversing. Traversing. Oh God. Such a spiritual word. Alright, cool. By which I mean spiritual ego word. Yeah, how beautiful is this place? Wow. Hopefully you liked it enough to give it a like, maybe a subscribe. Yeah, so that is how I know my ego is still attached to it, because that stuff still matters so much. I really want to get to a place with this channel where, because this channel gets crap views compared to my other two. But I really want to get to a place where I don't let that matter, and I just use this as sort of my therapy channel. You know, a channel where I just speak rather than, you know, and obviously English refugee, I'm recording what I'm doing, and then Not Today Satan is very much like, what do I want to show? Very different. So yeah, just allowing that, and every time that story comes up, which I get every time, I tell myself, oh, I better do a video today. Like, oh, you've got nothing to say, you've got nothing of value, there's no worth in anything you have to say. You know, rather than letting that stopping me, just switching on the camera and seeing what happens. Hopefully it was worthwhile. Let me know in the comments below. This walk is absolutely breathtaking. I did it all recording a video the whole way. I didn't actually take any of it in. So I'm just going to take some clips out of that video because it was for my other channel, The Broken Mirror, and put them to music. So skip ahead a couple of minutes if you're not interested in that. But it is, I mean, it's just breathtaking. It's absolutely breathtaking. Another ridiculous thing I'm noticing about myself is the fear I have around going into restaurants. And I think it's partly justified in terms of like having to go through the whole, you know, there be no menu pointing like when you're in a rural place like Langkawi. But, you know, here it's all very tourist aimed menus basically. I have so much fear around going into a restaurant. I don't know if it's because I just know that it's going to be, no, I'm making excuses. It's a fear. It's a fear. It's like, I guess it comes from not being welcomed places in the past and stuff like that. But so I'm thinking, oh, I'll just go and get some of those beef sandwiches again from that same stand. And this is what I do because I know it's safe there, I know it's easy there, I know I get food, I know I can escape. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But it is ridiculous. I really should experience another restaurant. It was very busy, very scary, so we'll try this one as it's nice and empty. Same kind of shop there. So, do you have an English menu?
Maybe.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. Great, so we've got a strawberry matcha latte, whatever that is.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Pot.
Perfect, thank you. Sarnies and what looks like a lovely drink for £3. Yeah, it's good to put a smile on my face, isn't it? Brings back memories of when I left Thailand against my will and got sent back to England in my parents' spare bedroom, and I went to buy a breakfast sandwich and it was like £8. Just like the time I'd been in Thailand, like it had gone up by another 30-40%. And just that horrible feeling of like, I can't even buy a sandwich, like what has the world come to? And it's so nice to be in places like this. Whilst I am conscious financially, you know, but I need to earn more money than I currently am essentially. But not really having to worry about it. Like on a bigger scale I think about it, but on a little scale, like, can I buy this sandwich? Can I get a drink? That's just meaningless. And this is so good. I mean, it's just sugar water, sugar milk. I'm drinking way too much milk with all these smoothies and stuff. But when she passed it me, I was like, that's not got any matcha in it. Yeah, I can confirm there's definitely no matcha in this. It's all sweet.